Radio Scotland.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. Got my mind set on you. But it's gonna take money, a whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take time, whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time to do it, 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 to do it right, child. I got my mind set on you. 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 And this time I know it's real, the feeling that I feel. I know if I put my mind to it, I know that I really can do it. I got my mind set on you, set on you. I got my mind set on you, set on you. But it's gonna take money, whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take time, whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time to do it, 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 to do it right. I got my mind set on you. 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 And this time I know it's real, the feelings that I feel. I know if I put my mind to it, I know that I really can do it. But it's gonna take money, a whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take a time, a whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time to do it, 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 to do it right.
That was George Harrison with Got My Mind Set on You. You're listening to Ashley Storrie on BBC Radio Scotland, and we've entered the third and final hour of the show, and we are going to get the scores in for Robert Carlyle, who was our Hollywood swinger. The song he sang was Solo California, or California Solo.
California Solo.
And we've got scores in, we've got opinions, people have got things to say. Paul, are you ready to hear them scores?
Hit me with it.
Okay, Sharon in Rutherglen says, hello again, Ashley and Paul. Sharon gives Bobby Carlyle 55 Kenny Rogers roasters, but only 20 from Craig. Not the best, despite the fact he's a great actor and seems like a good guy. Funny you should follow it with a Roxy Music song, though, as despite really liking some of their stuff, we've always thought that Brian Ferry was a pants singer and would score very low if he was an actor that appeared on Hollywood Swingers. Craig and Sharon with some deep cuts.
Bizarro world where we're like, that Robert Carlyle performance was good, but here's Brian Ferry, yeah, he was rubbish. What in the world? is in the water in Rutherglen?
I don't know, but I had an uncle who was a fantasist who told me that he invented Brian Ferry's beret. Martin in Orkney says, he might have done. If you can compare our Robert Carlyle to Bob Dylan, I can compare him to Jerry Rafferty. Great songwriters, dodgy talk singing vocalists. Britpop was a bit like that as well, to be fair, says Martin in
That is
Orkney.
an absolutely scandalous thing to say about Jerry Rafferty, who has amazing harmonies
Yes, and you
in
can't
all of his songs.
walk past a street called Baker without hearing in your head. Can you?
Oh, yeah.
I can't. I literally can. Every time I'm in London, going to Euston Station, I drive past Baker Street, it starts playing in my head. And that was the day we knew something was wrong. Jane Jones says, let me say, I'm a big fan of Robert Carlyle. I really do want to call him Bobbert for this entire bit, but I'm trying to hold myself back. However, I wasn't holding out much hope, and I wasn't disappointed. On the Tiger Tim Stevens scale of pop music, it's between snow bad and snow good. To be honest, in the context of the role of a has-been Britpop musician, that was surely an Oscar performance, but on the roaster scale, I cannot honestly give it more than 50 Kenny Rogers roasters, and that is me being generous.
That's a high score for
Says
that.
Jane Jones. I think it's going to be a King of the Swinger. Davy in Kinloch says, oh no. Paul was pretty generous. And as for you dissing Dylan, best keep quiet and not parade one's ignorance.
No one ever said that this was a show for intellectuals.
No, but also when we started this show 5 years ago, I realised very quickly that if you want to wind up people, slag Bob Dylan. It makes
What, the poor man's Jake Bug?
the poor man's Jake Bug. Is that not what I used to call
Yeah.
him? And it would make people mental. I just don't like Bob Dylan. I don't like that whole, the snow blows wide on the mountain tonight.
But it's not as if you're coming out with some sort of outrageously controversial opinion. Lots of people have that opinion about Bob Dylan.
Do they?
Yeah.
I only know like 3 people, my parents and you, so it's all I really have to work off of.
I agree with you, so that's at least 33% of the people you know.
Whereas Davy in Kinloch is like, shush, Ashley, you don't know nothing about Bob Dylan. He's not even my favourite old whiny man from that era. Because you know, there's that.
Cohen, do you think Cohen's better?
No, I like the other one. The guy with the beard now who hates Spotify.
Oh,
But not Bing Crosby.
the one who always moans about materialism, but he's really rich.
Yeah, I like him.
Neil Young.
Neil Young. He's of the whiny old man brigade. Neil Young is my favourite. But that's just because he's got good songs. Anyhow, Davey and Kinloch, we're having a joke. I'm glad you got in touch. The tune had some comic value, so 6 Kenny Rogers roasters. Not a fan of Bobbert Carlyle, is our Davy Kinloch singing. Chris and Leanne say happy birthday, Paul, from Chris and Leanne. 40 is nothing. It's when the wife turns 50 that you start to worry. Going to give Mr. Carlyle 70 Kenny Rogers roasters. Yes, as it was in tune, not offensive, and as Ashley said, it was better than a lot of paid singers. I agree. Have you ever watched like Tea in the Park or Glastonbury when people have to actually go sing live without
And they're terrible as well.
Yeah, they're terrible. Robert Carlyle, within the context of playing a guy who was in a group in the olden days who no longer is in that group and is now singing a weird song, sounds exactly like every single one of the old guys. Don't you think? I swear that sentence made complete sense in my head, and looking at your face, it didn't when it came out.
No, I just don't agree with the sentiment of it. Made sense.
Okay. Let's have a break from this debate. Get in touch via text 80295. Let us know your scores for Robert Carlyle. Also, can I just let everybody listening know that my seat, which I already hate because the arms squish my butt, has started doing this thing whenever I lean forward where it's tilting up like I'm an elderly person who needs aid in standing. And now it's stuck in a tilt. So now I'm just kind of like, you know when you go to chapel and you have to kneel on the wee bit? That's what it feels like, but I don't have a bit to kneel on, so I'm just holding myself up with
Swap
a
the
desk.
chairs. There's like 4 other chairs in this room.
I don't like those ones. They don't have a swivel, and I need to be able to constantly
Do you want
swivel.
my chair and I will swap?
No, I don't want your chair because everybody knows that you don't have bum cheeks and it hurts. And this is not a comfortable butt chair.
I'll sit on one of the ones that don't swivel. I don't need a swivel.
I don't need you throwing your coat in puddles for me white night. I'll be fine.
Yet you've just moaned to the collective audience of Radio Scotland about it.
It's the third hour. That's what I do. That's my shtick. Here's Tom Jones, Wichita lineman, moan about it.